Gruesome Magazine.
Hello once again. I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself will take a look at very spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are so thrilled, I say, to be reviewing The Fall of House of Usher, which is streaming on Shudder. We are doing episodes 1 through 4, and then we'll have another episode in the near future where we do 5 through 8. I think there's only 8 episodes, I hope. If not, then we'll have a third one. But that's what we're going to do. I'm very excited to do that. But before we do that, let me introduce my crew, starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm lemony. I'm lemon today.
Lemon?
Feeling
oh,
lemon.
Yes. I love it.
Oh, lemon. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
Good.
No
Good,
lemons?
yeah.
No lemons?
Okay. No, I mean, lemons are good. I did just eat some lemons for dinner, but
Oh, nice.
I mean, not just lemons. I had food with it. Don't. Okay. I'm done.
Okay. Also joining us is the award-winning filmmaker, Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, sir?
More
Oh,
like
God.
Christopher G. Nevermore.
No.
That's nice.
We've been waiting for that all week.
Yeah.
Look at him go.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause.
Allow me to explain through interpret it. And see, he's doing it right now. He's doing his t-shirt. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All for you, Edgar Allan Poe.
There you go. There you go.
I don't know what I did there.
Anyway,
Anyway, off of me.
All right, rounding out the crew tonight is the one and only, say it with me, Dave.
Well, that might have been the best one ever. That was pretty good.
I think
Much like Jeff, I'm also very lemony today. I'm
nice.
very lemony.
Lemony fresh.
Lemony smooth.
Just
Lemony
just-
snicket.
Ooh, lemony
just
smooth.
I'm trying to think of that whole monologue about the lemons was fantastic. I can't think of where else to go with it though that it makes any sense. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna, and I can play in the Christophers too. I can say I'm here on a midnight dreary. See, no interpretive dance for me.
So Jeff can also do Nevermore, and
Mhm.
I have
Yes, yes.
nothing.
I wish I had
Yes.
thought of it first, because then Christopher would
Like-
have known.
I
don't
know.
if you had
That
backup
would
or
have been
not.
embarrassing.
Annabelle Cleveland.
A
And
that
Annabelle.
almost works.
Clee.
Clee.
Anyway,
All right.
too much thinking here.
Yeah.
Mask of
I
the Red
bet you
House.
see. I know. Given enough time, Christopher could come up with something though.
Probably.
All right. Well, let's what we're going to do tonight is we're going to give you our first impressions of it, episodes 1 through 4, and those English impressions will be spoiler free. And after that, we'll get into discussion. We will get into the spoilers, and that's when we get back into the 5 configuration that you're seeing now. And then we'll wrap things up with our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. Oh boy. But before we get into all that, we hope that you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And if you do, please hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend buttons. Every click will help us find more horror fans just like you.
Just like you.
All right, let's take a look at the CAD. Matter of fact, we got CADs.
The cards.
CADs. Oh, The House of Usher, streaming on Netflix beginning October 12th. We are doing episodes 1 through 4. Episode 1 is A Midnight Dreary. A wealthy CEO faces a criminal investigation amid tragedy, trauma, and a supernatural threat. The Usher family learns an informant lurks among them. Episode 2, The Mask of the Red Death. Motivated by money and revenge, Perry hosts an exclusive masque-rave that takes a twisted turn. A young Roderick pitches a revolutionary new opioid. Episode 3, Murders in the Rue Morgue. In charge of the Ushers' publicity, Camille conspires to spin controversy in her family's favor and expose the grim details of her sister's experiments. Cue music. Episode 4, The Black Cat. Leo adopts a black cat who soon brings evil and a mysterious woman into his home, while Roderick struggles with multiple terrifying hallucinations. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Directors are Mike Flanagan and Michael Figmognari. Yes. Writers are Mike Flanagan, Emmy Grinwis, and Justina Ireland, based on the works of Edgar Allan Poe. The cast includes Carla Gugino, and I always mispronounce that name. Did I get close?
I think you were pretty good that time.
All right. Bruce Greenwood, Mary McDonnell, Henry Thomas, Kate Siegel, Raoul Coley, Samantha Sloan, T-Nia Miller, Surian Sapkota, Ruth Codd, Crystal Balint, Kylie Curran, Carl Lumley, and Mark Hamill, and a hopefully award-winning performance. Also featuring Zach Gilford, Willa Fitzgerald, Michael Trucco, Matt Bydell, Annabeth Gish, Robert Longstreet, Roland Nuez, Lulu Wilson, Graham Berchier, and Daniel Che Jun. It's a stacked cast, I think we can say.
That was a good job, Doc.
Was it? That's so unlike me.
No, it wasn't. But I'm gonna.
Here's a participation award.
Nice try, Crystal.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
best effort.
You could have remained quiet, and I would have been a happy boy. All right. Let's start off with our first impressions, and Dave Dreher.
Ooh, I get to go first again. I feel like I get to go first all the time. I'm really intrigued by this show. I am loving it so far. I love the way it's written. I love the way it's acted. I've liked the direction for the most part so far. I'm just having a shitload of fun with it. I'm sure there's plenty that could be picked apart, but I just don't care about any of that right now. I just I really like how they've taken these Poe stories and modernized them and rolled them into this fluid dialogue that it's just working. I mean, I loved how the whole Rue Morgue. I'm like, what are they going to do with the Rue Morgue, and just how they explain that and what the Rue Morgue is and this world, in this, it was all just fantastic, and it's bloody and it's fun. I like it. Give me more. I want the next 4 episodes.
Absolutely. Crystal Cleveland, you're up next. What's your first impression of the first 4 episodes of The Fall of House of Usher?
Well, I'm a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan. If you notice, I even do readings on his. I think he was a goth before his time, and I adore him, even though they didn't have goth music then. It's fine. Anyway, I love it. I think that this is. I think it's so like Dave kind of alluded to. It's very clever with the way that it uses the whole, different ways and different tie-ins. Like, it ties into a lot of Edgar Allan Poe's actual life, not just, like Annabelle Lee, was like it was real weird. He had a real weird life. Like the woman he was married to, how she died, and then marrying, I don't know, about his cousin and stuff. It's all very awkward and weird. But I think the acting is phenomenal. I think it's interesting. Oh, we can't give too much away. But I think Carla is fabulous. Oh my gosh. I don't know who she, what her complete role is. I don't know what they did to her. I'm so I really did want to watch past the 4 episodes. I just did not have the time. And I'm dying to know what's going to happen now, because I want to know what happened to her. And I think it's cool that he pretty much has the same sickness, I assume, as his mother, right? But yeah, no, everything is obviously it's shot beautifully. I'm really happy with Mike's work on this, even though I really detested Midnight Mass. I feel like he's once again, most of the stuff I always like. So he's redeemed himself with this. The lemon story could have, just been even longer and more wordy and bleh, but it was just right. Okay. So I'm very happy with this. Yes.
Very good. Christopher G. Mohr, you're up next. What was your first impression of The Fall of House of Usher?
This show makes me
want to quit as a writer.
Oh my.
I mean, but at the same time, this show is both intelligent, but also makes sex jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is paraphrasing, but I think someone on the internet called it a spooky version of Succession.
Yeah, it is.
And also how he kind of turns. I don't know if you guys know about the Sackler family, Sackler pharmaceutical family. It kind of like takes elements of that, the family that actually did OxyContin and how these people addicted to medication. So it has all these different elements. It even has a "is it cake" joke,
Yeah.
It had, and at the same time, he's definitely not holding back, both on gore and nudity. There's like a whole orgy scene where you see multiple nude bodies everywhere. And I think as someone who's also a devotee of Edgar Allan Poe, he's my favorite classical writer. It's really wonderful how, because I think we've seen so many representations of these stories in different ways, and I've always wanted to direct my version of something as well, but a lot of them are either period pieces or they're just very traditional in how they tell that. And I think this one, he really does a great job, not only, and Crystal had sort of tapped into this, but not only telling these stories in a different way and taking these stories and putting them in a different environment, but also how he just incorporates just pieces of his poetry into like what they're saying at a funeral or a love letter between two people.
Yeah.
So it's really wonderful how this is a huge love letter to Edgar Allan Poe. But also I really love how, I think what I love about the Flanaverse or Flanagan verse or whatever you want to call it is how he works with a lot of the same actors over and over and has them playing different parts. And here he has Carla's character plays different parts in every episode. And there's so many really great acting performances throughout. As much as I hated some of the monologues in this previous entry, like that Crystal talked about, I don't mind the monologues here. I mean, we were making the joke at the top of the show, but the lemon, which
so
almost
good.
takes the lemon phrase and turns it into a whole monologue, which is like, you're just, oh man, give me more of that. So, and I think also how and also just how when you have someone who's dealing with sort of, without giving too much away, an illness that he thinks is probably the medicine that's making these ghosts show up, but it could be maybe it's the actual ghost showing up to come after him. So, I don't know. I'm really loving this. I mean, I think when we all heard about this, we all weren't kind of sure how he's going to do this. Is it going to be a gothic horror period piece? And we get a period piece of sorts, but it's just more contemporary, from like the 70s and 80s. And so we get a lot of flashbacks, which sometimes, and also we have a lot of narration, which sometimes can be annoying or sometimes can make up for the fact that you can't really tell the story in a certain way. But it is integral to this thing because you have this guy who's telling the story of how these things happen, how he came about, and how these family members start dropping off like flies. And so, it's got some really wonderful things. It's sort of like, I never thought, without giving anything, I never thought Thor's hammer would be part of Edgar Allan Poe. So I'm really enjoying this for the first 4 episodes. I'm definitely enthralled by it. Flanagan is such a wonderful writer who gives really wonderful things to his actors, and also just the storytelling is so wonderfully thought out. So I'm loving it so far.
Loving it so far. Jeff Mohr.
Me too. I absolutely love it. Poe was some of the first stuff, more adult type thing that I can remember reading. The thing that amazes me about this is almost every single character's name you can trace to a Poe story, and you could kind of find the tie-in. It's just blows me away the amount of connections that are in this. And I'm even the titles of the episodes, as you saw, and I'm going to throw one out. I'm sure everybody else noticed this, but Carla Gugino's name is Verna, which is an anagram of Raven.
Oh.
Um,
That's
Wow.
awesome.
so all the way down. I mean, Pim,
That makes sense, actually.
Lenore, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Fortunato Pharmaceuticals is
Cask of
Fortunato is a
Amontillado.
guy in Cask of Amontillado. Yep. There's just we talk about maybe some of this later. I don't want to give things away, but I loved every minute of it. And oh, by the way, before I forget, Midnight Mass is absolutely wonderful. Don't listen.
There you go. I do like how they Roderick Usher Enterprises made Rue. That really blew me away.
So everything from the analogy with the story, in the story, Roderick Usher has a disease that they're kind of vague about, but a incurable disease, and his sister is deeply involved. I also loved, Christopher brought one up, but there's a lot of modern tie-ins that are in the news. He mentioned the opioid epidemic. There's a lot about environmental pollution and hazmat disposal. They even bring up AI in films.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that won't be any good. We'll see.
Pre-strike, I guess, but they might have known dementia, of whatever particular type. So there's a lot of, and I expect more to come up. That's kind of brought up, and the idea of the rich, don't have to pay consequences, right? That's a big thing too. So I'm loving this. The acting is wonderful, and I'm just can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it too. I will admit though, and you guys are probably going to be surprised for this, it took me a few episodes to get on the train. Oh. I was not 100% behind it going into the first couple episodes. But eventually I got to where I was like, I couldn't wait. By the time it was going from 2 to 3 and 3 to 4, I was like, okay, I can't wait. I gotta hit the next button. Yeah. And the only reason I couldn't go beyond 4 is because, like many of us here, we got so much to do. So we'll be doing those over the next week at some point. But really, what's absolutely blowing my mind is Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is putting in amazing performance as the lawyer of the family, and he's doing kind of this gruff, not laughing Joker kind of voice instead of the he. But it kind of feels, I don't know, it's definitely as about far away from a Luke Skywalker as you can get, and it is just his whole attitude, his demeanor, his body language, and how he interacts with Roderick. It's quite special. I'm really impressed. I'm fixated when he's on screen. It's really amazing. Henry Thomas is also putting in another wonderful performance, very different than before. And there's kind of something funny that happens to him.
Kate Siegel too.
Kate Siegel, yeah, with her wig. Mary McDonald.
That wig looked good on her.
It did.
That wig looked hot on her.
Her outfits too.
And Carl as the detective.
That dress with the garter belt hooks hanging down on it was
so pretty.
There you go.
Pretty amazing.
I want to be her assistant.
Okay, so let's just think about this. Look at the difference with Henry Thomas in Bloodlines versus this. Holy, I mean, he was fantastic in both, but just how different his character is. He was so like this one. He plays fantastic. He plays kind of a spaz.
Well, Haunting of Hill House too, right?
Yeah, each one has its own thing.
Yeah, he's wonderful. Like, sorry. Well, Doc, you're just talking about people. You felt like you left it open.
I guess I did. We'll just move right into our spoiler part of the review because it doesn't matter what else I have to say at this point. What I wanted to say was my introduction to Edgar Allan Poe was through the oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank all of a sudden. I had it in my mouth earlier. But the films from the 60s with with Vincent Price, and all those. And I got into reading his stuff, but really it's the Rue Morgue, Murders in the Rue Morgue. I like his detectives. And of course, Jeff, did he invent detectives? I feel like he did.
Well, there was some sort of detective things before, but this is usually labeled as the first detective story. Not just a mystery, but a detective story. And the kind that later became Sherlock Holmes,
Right.
Hercule
And he led that path, and I love that book. I love that story. I don't know if it's a full book. I'm not as up on all Edgar Allan Poe as the rest of the cast are, but mine's mostly through cinema outside of that story. But yeah, the Rue Morgue one was one fireplace away from hitting it. So, although what they did was kind of awesome. But let's get into some spoilers. I think somebody, Dave, you've been quiet the longest. Why don't you give us a spoiler discussion that you want to chat about?
Just listening to the fascinating discussion. I think we're all in agreement. We all think it's pretty goddamn good, though. So that's good to hear. Yeah, I think the thing that, and I didn't figure this out, I think, until we got it started in the third one, is like each one of these little segments is going to be someone's demise.
Yeah.
which I just love the fact that, the whole episode just is going to bring us to some sort of grisly, horrifying end. And they have not disappointed up through number 4. I'm really, I don't know how spoilery you want to get, but the end of episode 2 with the rave was like, holy shit. That was like right up there with that, what was it, the Red Wedding or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh my God. And then the explanation
kind of like Blade
better.
with a little bit of a twist.
Yeah. But then the explanation was even better, at the beginning of the next episode, where he's like, they just didn't bother to check what was in the vats. And well, not too happy of an ending for now. And it was really great, but and super gruesome. So, but I like that. So I'm looking forward. I want to watch the next episode just to see what type of interesting death we get for the few remaining family members.
that was one of the things that kind of threw me off at first, as far as really loving it from the onset, was that basically the first episode tells us, they're all dead, right?
So what? That?
Yes.
Oh God.
But that's just a personal reaction. Just a personal reaction. I mean, it was there structurally for a reason, but to me, it hit me wrong. But by what Dave's saying, by the end of episode 2, that all subsided. But yeah, every episode is one of them drops. I just wish.
But because the
main drop so soon.
Because the main thing, the main thing about the story was not that they were dead. It's the journey of how they died. Like
exactly.
This truly isn't about the fact that they're all dead. That's irrelevant, really. It's just about how you're taking it through. I mean, honestly, this.
Well, the reason why, right? So.
Yeah, and let's be real. Just like Carla gives each of these people a chance. If you notice, just like when Fortunato is on his way to being bricked up, he has a chance to turn around. The dude even says, "Oh, let's turn around." He's like, "Let's turn around. Let's go back." And then Fortunato is like, "No." And so it's their own demise.
She tells Morella in the Prospero's death, "Go now."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she does.
Yep.
I was saying to the TV, "Go, girl!
Get the hell out of there!
This isn't going to end well."
Why aren't you leaving?
I loved in the when we were in the Rue Morgue when she like jumped up on the table. I was like, "What the fuck was that?
Wow!
Yes. What was that?"
And then becomes the.
Well, we knew what she was.
That was scary.
Well, she did a similar thing in the Black Cat thing too. Where where she embodies.
Yeah, she was like the cat.
Specific things.
Did you see she had a cat collar on when he came in? I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Well, I saw her eye hanging out when she turned around, which is all of this is in the. I mean, the cat's name is Pluto, the same as the story. The guy freaks out and damages the cat's eye, tears the cat's eye out or something, injures the cat. And all that stuff is in the story. So, and then anyway, I love the way he tied all that stuff in. The Mask of the Red Death, you know.
Literally the mask.
Well, it was definitely a Red Death. That's
got that much right.
And it was all the rich people, you know. I mean, in the Mask of the Red Death, he's got all the hoity-toities.
Man,
Yeah.
these
Locked in his.
But it's kind of interesting because you have these you have this show where the main characters are these self-absorbed, asshole-ish rich people, and you still kind of feel bad, like, oh crap, but at the same time, it's like, man, they're really getting their just desserts, and the horrible thing. I mean, what's his name? Henry. Crap, I can't remember. Henry Thomas. When he's trying to unlock that phone, and he he takes that coke. I was like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, F it, and he like takes her gauze off. I'm like, dude,
tries to get really facial recognition off this scarred and burned face.
Your wife has been scarred beyond recognition, and you really think that's going to help? That's what you're worried about? You should be worrying about your wife. I was like,
I think it just drove him crazy. Well, okay, here's the thing.
Oh yeah. Well, no,
I mean, let's be real. He knows she was at some sort of freaking orgy with his brother, where she wasn't supposed to be.
I understand that, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't,
it's kind of crazy.
Well, it is crazy, but he's also on cocaine. He's also hooked up on cocaine too. I mean, he also leaves his family member's house who got his eyeball scratched out by a cat. He's like, oh, I'm going to take my cocaine and leave. I
think he's just that's what I'm saying. I feel like he is just in space. He just seems just not as intelligent as the rest of the people.
Well, but then the rest of them are just as bad, you know? I mean, you have the wife who brings a hooker in to sort of reenact their life.
Did you catch what her husband's name is?
No,
it's William Wilson. His last name is Wilson, and that's a Poe story about a guy that meets his doppelganger.
Oh,
I don't know that one.
So I'm waiting to see what happens with that, because I'm sure there'll be some.
I've never even
or Telltale Heart, you know how that turns out. But yeah,
we kind of have that one set up, don't we?
We do have it set up, and he takes it in non-traditional ways, you know, because we know Telltale Heart actually deals with a heart replacement thing. So it's really interesting how he's sort of gone outside the normal box we're set in when we're telling these stories, and goes in these sort of crazy ways that you don't expect. You know, it's really, I mean, just even having a character who's known for creating video games and, you know, things like that. Yeah.
Well, when another one that kind of threw me is when Madeline and Roderick each get the text of the enhanced photo of the security guard, and he or she immediately goes to that bar where they met, and then he goes like in the basement and is staring at this brick wall, and I'm thinking, okay, cask of Amontillado, who's blocked up inside that wall? Is it the guy that they stole the company from, or what? You know, I don't know. We still don't know how they got control of the company, right?
That's true. We don't yet.
I have a feeling we're going to find out.
I do too.
Part of it. What do we think?
Yeah, what's behind? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Doc.
I was going to ask, what do we think of Dupin, the detective?
Well, I think he's pretty great. He played Halloran in Dr. Sleep. Yeah, I thought he was really great in that, and I think he's equally as good in this. He's a really good actor.
I like how the story we get to sort of see how his beginnings and how he started out and how he got to where he is now, and they give these little snippets of his life and his personality throughout, and so I think they did a great job of having two characters, you know, two actors playing a younger version and of course the older version. That they do a really great job of sort of playing off of who that character is. It doesn't really.
Did you guys notice who the teenage Madeline was?
Was
No,
that Lulu?
I thought I recognized.
Yeah.
Lulu
Oh,
Wilson.
is that Lulu?
It was
Okay,
Lulu
yeah,
Wilson.
yeah. Now you mention it, yeah.
Yeah.
I always like I know her from somewhere.
That character,
Well-
the I can't remember what his name, but the detective character in one of the segments when he was younger, he's got a great monologue too. There, when he's sitting behind the desk and he talks about the people who were supposed to treat us or making us sicker, and you know,
Doing the right
I love
thing
the
and
young-
doing it.
So
Yeah.
I do
He's
love
so
the
good.
young. Yeah, the young actor of him was in Lost Girl, which I love Lost Girl. So I don't know if y'all ever saw that, but
And then this character Dupin is the same character from Murders in the Rue Morgue, the detective that Jeff and I were talking about earlier. So, not that
Not that
It's-
matters, but it's just interesting. Yeah.
So who have we lost so far? Which ones are we've lost them all? But which
We
ones
lost-
do we know?
Prospero or Perry.
and the sister.
Yeah, Perry's gone, and the Kate Segal character's gone.
Mhm.
What was her name?
Camille,
Camille. Yeah, she's gone.
Rose, Camille, and Leo.
And
right?
Leo Napoleon.
Yeah,
And their mother. I guess the first episode is kind of their mother dies.
Mhm.
Yeah, and their father possibly, right? Because did I get that
I think
right?
the father. No, I feel like isn't the father the dude who owns the company?
Not the one.
That's what I
Well, the
thought
one
it
that the
was.
one they killed, the one she strangled to death.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
Okay then.
I-
Yeah.
geez, I didn't get that, but yeah, obviously.
That's what I
yeah.
got. That was their father.
Yep,
And that's why- Yeah. And it
That's
makes a
why
lot of
she
it
was
is
sense.
a-
kept- That's why she was kept at the end of the street. Yeah.
And
I
then
like the-
and then when they go to him to ask him, he's like, I don't know what you're implying. I don't think they were trying to imply anything like that, but he assumed that they knew.
Yeah. I
And
don't
they were
think they
trying
find out
to-
till later, right?
Yeah.
But that's why they have some. They don't mind about all the bastards that they have. Right?
Well, and yes, and the guy.
Yes, they are.
the-
Oh, I think that's why the dad is so
Oh.
serious about accepting
Now I
all
get
of
it.
his
Now I
kids.
get
right,
it.
right.
He's like,
Now
I
that
accept
makes
all
sense.
my children, no matter
Our
who their
father
mother is.
closed his doors to us, and,
Right.
and I'm not going to do that. The guy, did you
Mhm.
notice? So that guy's name was Longfellow. That was Robert Longstreet,
Mm-hmm.
who we've seen in a lot. I think wasn't he in the new Halloween movies? Anyway.
if he was, I don't think he'd want to.
Oh,
He's
yeah, I
in a
think
ton
he
of
was.
stuff. He's in a ton.
Yeah, he
he's
was
a great
the-
actor.
Yeah, he was in that.
Well, he's one of those guys that looks different every time. It seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got.
And somewhere I was reading that he named those characters that, and then the other next owner is Griswold. But those people were named after critics of Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, are they?
That's awesome.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
Yes.
cool.
So the family members we have left outside of Roderick and Madeline, the matriarch and patriarch in some way, is Frederick, right? Henry Thomas, Tamerlane, Samantha Sloan, and who else?
Victorine.
Victorine and Juno, right? Ruth Codd.
That's his wife.
Yeah, is she going to be a victim too?
I don't know. I don't think. I wouldn't think so. I
I'm
mean,
trying to think.
I thought it was just children.
I
I
think
mean,
it's
the
just very much
title-
children, right?
The
Plus,
title would.
Mohr is still around. Yeah.
Plus, we need to find out who the mole is too. So there's the
I-
I guess the main mystery.
I
Well,
think
for
it's
some reason, I got the
Madeline.
feeling I thought it
I
was
think it's-
actually Roderick. That he
No,
was
I
taking
think
on
it's
himself.
Madeline. Madeline, I think, is buried again. Or I think
Yes.
I think he buried her up, and that's what you're
This-
hearing from down below.
Yeah, the story
And
in
I think she is the mole.
yeah, the story in the Fall of the
Actually.
House of the Usher, he buries his sister in the basement.
Hmm.
So she's in the
Mhm.
basement. So,
Mhm.
and I'm wondering
I didn't
where
want to like.
Lenore is too. The granddaughter that he keeps
Yeah.
supposedly getting texts from. Is it really her, or is it an AI of her, or
Mhm.
you know?
Ooh.
There's just so many weird things. Another person I noticed was, did you catch Alex Esso as the? She was a witness on one of the videos that Camille was watching. When Camille was
Oh, no,
watching
I didn't see.
the trial on TV, Alex Esso was the person in the witness chair.
Oh, I missed that. I missed that entirely. Nice. Yeah, I was thinking there's a speech that Madeline gives, the young Madeline gives, that kind of mirrors what somebody's brain would be in to be the informant now. That's
Mhm.
that's why I think it's Madeline as well.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm not paying attention. What happened to his wife?
We don't know yet.
Okay, so
I think
I'm
they
wondering.
just got divorced.
Roderick's
I think
first
she
wife?
left him.
Yeah.
Or
I think
Frederick's
she
first
left
wife?
him.
Yeah.
I bet you she
Annabelle.
left him
Well,
because
I'm wondering
he's-
if maybe she might die on one of these episodes.
You got to go read the poem.
Mhm.
No
Oh.
one is safe.
No one.
By the way, the I know that Mark Hamill's character is very serious, but that part where
Oh,
he's
she
like
commi-
looking at the security camera footage, and he's like, "Can we pull up the audio?" It's like,
Yeah.
that's not how security cams work. And he's like, "Can we enhance?" It's like, again, that's not. How
I know.
we can
Well, if
use
you
it.
get
We can
enhance it, well,
zoom.
then he ends up
I
messing
love
up
that
with
they
enhance,
do
so-
that though, because that's
Yeah.
that's real, you know. Instead of like these stupid shows where they're like, "Yeah, give me just a second." He's like, "No,
But he
it's a
does
shit
do it though.
camera."
He does send it later.
Well, he's
Well,
zooming.
you can do it with
You
external.
can zoom, but
He
you
Software.
zoomed,
zoom.
but he did
Right.
enhance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I just love the little text he gets with the. Anyway,
He did get his joke
did
in
you
hand.
It
notice
was a
yeah.
little funny. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was really weird. They were in that one meeting where Prospero walks in late, remember? And
Mhm.
starts talking about, gets this brilliant idea. Pym is wearing gloves.
He is the entire time. He's always
He
got
wears
the
them
gloves
all
on.
the time.
Yeah, the
I know.
black
smart.
gloves
I
are
know.
always
What's
on.
the, yeah.
He's
Well, I think he
smart.
does not want his fingerprints on stuff.
He
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
want his
Not-
fingerprints on anything.
either that or it's a
He's
Luke,
smart.
it's a Luke Skywalker reference. 'Cause-
I think that it's totally about. I was never here.
Well, yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's always trying not. I mean, when he's walking through that orgy blood fest,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
was like, man,
Goopy,
So-
sloppy,
this
goopy.
guy goes all out on his job.
He's a fixer. He's the
His-
fixer.
The fixer.
Yep.
Yeah.
His character's name, Arthur Pym, was Poe's only novel. The narrative of Arthur, is it Gordon Pym of Nantucket, something like that. But the character takes a, he like an adventurer. He goes on a ship to various parts of the world and has adventures with cannibals and everything else. The name of the ship he's on is Grampus. So
Like what they, yeah.
yeah, in the story that has Arthur Pym, he's riding the ship called Grampus, which is what they call Roderick.
Yep.
So
The youngest one's right.
I don't know.
Yep.
There's so much.
And he's just along for the ride. It does seem he is
Yeah.
really just, let's be real, he's just on that train and just whatever. Tell me what. Yeah.
He's
I
a
love how
badass.
when
He's a badass.
Henry Thomas gives that, I don't know if you call it testimony, but does that spiel about following the guidelines for EPA, blah, blah, blah. And then when they go out and yell at Perry, they repeat that exactly for
Yeah.
It's a thing that Pym makes them memorize. It's incredible.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our score 1 to 5. If you want to break it up, you can, or you can just do it for the entire 4. And favorite scene, Dave Dreher, you're up first.
I am going to do it just for the first 4 episodes, and I hope the last 4 episodes are equally as entertaining. But I'm going to give this a 4.75. I actually find this rather brilliant. I mean, I think it's really, really good. I think I'm going to have to watch it several times over to be able to like totally absorb
Get all the
everything that Mike
references, yeah.
Flanagan's got going on here. It's that good, but the performances are great. The story is amazing. Yeah, I'm brilliant. One word, brilliant.
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 We'll put that in that. Yeah.
Favorite scene, I know everyone's probably expecting me to pick the acid bath scene, but you know what? The scene that's really stuck in my head more than anything else of those 4 hours of TV I watched is that goddamn lemon speech.
That was
so-
amazing. It was amazing.
I'm going with the lemon speech and just
Okay.
the way he delivers it, and he's getting more like frantic as he's saying it, and you're listening to it and you're thinking, oh my God, this is how media and business controls us. It is the perfect example of how gullible we all are.
Hashtag
And
lemon.
it's
Hashtag lemon.
it's
Oh wait, you needed
it's
the
brilliant.
hashtag.
Yeah,
Hashtag.
so I'm going with the lemon speech.
Perfect. Crystal, you're up next. What's your score and favorite scene?
I'm going to give it a 4.5. And I'm gonna let someone else take the acid rain. I will go with. I think this is going to be the first time ever that I'm going to be like praising CGI, but it worked for me. When Carla is about to attack Camille, and then she goes up and she goes to take the photo, and you see that it's the chimpanzee. And I know it was CGI, but they made that chimpanzee look legit scary. Like I was like, oh no, you go F yourself now, okay? And that actually really worked for me. Like it was spooky. I was like, I don't want to see that. They're so strong. So there you go.
She paid for it. She paid for it. Really. Christopher G. Mohr, sir. Your score, your favorite scene.
Maybe it started on the sitcom on Nope. I think Flanagan is definitely hitting out of the park. He's really doing a great job of telling these stories, and I really love also just the spookiness of the Roderick and telling these stories, and we get a little bit of that Haunting a Hill House stuff where ghosts are like floating in the background and showing up and stuff. There's some really beautiful. I mean, like when the gamer dude like drops in front of him. There's like some really wonderful moments that keep you sort of guessing. So yeah, you know what? I know I go all out sometimes, but I'd say 5 out of 5 so far because I really think it's a beautifully written. It makes me feel dumb because I can never read it. I can never write anything that intelligent because he's done his research just behind pharmaceutical stuff or all the different business jargon and stuff. I don't have the mental capacity to be able to understand it enough to write the stuff myself. I just write like monsters that bite your dick off. That's or things like that. I have the ability to do that. So maybe the sex side of it, maybe the sex orgy side, I could do a movie. As for favorite scene, I could probably go the orgy thing, but I'm gonna say that I think when they bury their mom and their mom comes back, it's tense and atmospheric, and that feels like that creepy side of Edgar Allan Poe, and I love how that is, and just everything from the lightning storm, everything just perfectly, it fits perfectly within that gothic horror scheme of things. And so I'll say, if anything, I could probably go like the other route, but I'll say I just think visually I really loved how that played out, that whole scene played out.
Perfect. Yeah. Jeff, you're up next. Score, favorite scene.
Boy, you guys took my first 3 favorite scenes.
And it's funny because none of us have said the acid rain. I'm like, wait, okay. I know. Are we all avoiding it? Is it too obvious?
If Jeff doesn't take it, it's not going to be said. So.
All right. Well, I'm going 5 too because I'm just totally amazed by the writing. This is a great combination of writing and acting, and I did want to mention that the director of half the episodes, Michael Fimagnari, not sure how to pronounce his name, but
better than I did both times.
He's been Flanagan's longtime cinematographer, so all the way back to Oculus. So they have a long relationship. Favorite scene. Lemon speech. That's what I was gonna say. Nobody's gonna pick the lemon speech. They're all gonna take gore. You know what? I'll take when at the beginning of episode for whichever episode it is where Pim, it's I think it's episode 3, at the beginning of episode 3, where Pim, the EMTs and all these people are out there, the cops and everybody are there to take it in, and he gets first access to the crime scene.
Oh,
yeah. He does, because he knows somebody. He called somebody.
And then when he goes in there, it's just bizarre. And then Morella's hand clutches his. That was just creepy and squishy, the footsteps.
Yeah, it's gooey. It's a gooey mess.
Like some of them were just bones and others were just gooey. Yeah, it was gruesome.
But again, the example of extremely rich privilege, you know, and Roderick even admits to Dupin that there's never anything that's enough, you know. It's like, that's a dumb question. Anyway, I'm done. I loved it. I can't wait to watch the other ones because I got all these ideas of what the hell.
Ah, nice. Well, I like I said, I was a little slow on it at first, but I eventually was full on then. So I'm giving it a 4.5.
Yay.
And my favorite scene, I thought Christopher was going to take it there for a hot second, is when Leo appears in front of Dupin. Well, not in front of Dupin, but in front of Roderick. And just flops right in front of him. And he jumps and screams, and Dupin jumps and screams. And there for a second, I was like, well, and then I jumped and screamed. But then I was like, did Dupin see that? And of course, Dupin just reacted to Roderick. And then Roderick just screams at him. But Dupin doesn't know he's screaming at. And I love Dupin's reaction. You know, he just said, you don't yell at me if you do. What do you say? He was going to like,
yeah, you don't get to talk to me that way or something.
Yeah, something this side of Jack his jaw. But I love the interaction. I love because these two characters are a little bit tense together. You know, together they're they're opposing characters. So that scene just it threw me. It really did make me jump when he flopped down in front of him. That was an amazing scene. It was well done too, and the reaction, Roderick. I mean, I really like Bruce Greenwood, and I think he's doing a fantastic job in here.
Well, and if he wasn't, I mean, the show could fall apart because he's such an integral part of telling these stories, and so him just sitting there in a chair talking and stuff, you have to be sort of entranced by what he's talking about. Yeah, and so every time like, ooh, what new story are you going to tell us this time? So it's really wonderful conversation he has with the guy.
Yeah, very charismatic, very magnetic. Really
but he's also just he comes across as very down to earth, honestly. And that's what makes him believable, I think. Like, I believe what comes out of that dude's mouth. That's a bad thing, probably.
I like that he used the speech when he had the family together and he was telling them, you know, that this is the way it's going to be. But it's the same speech his boss gave to him flashbacks later on. I thought that was really interesting.
Sir, yes, sir.
There's a lot of that back and forth with the past and the future.
Yeah, but you notice that Leo paid no attention to that whatsoever.
Oh no!
Right after he gives that "Sir, yes, sir" speech, Leo jumps up and leaves and says, "I ain't doing that."
I think also I love that there's an element of humor that is throughout this. It's not just dreary and dark. There's actually a good amount of things to laugh at. You know,
we didn't mention how they referred to the kids. There's the Usher kids, and then there's the bastards. But that's what they. There's the real, all the real kids. Their names are the names of like conquerors or emperors or dictators. Frederick,
but Poe did
Tamerlane,
have a poem with Napoleon.
And Napoleon. Probably,
he did have a poem with or something with Napoleon. I remember Napoleon somewhere. I just don't remember from what. But
it's interesting. To me, it was just interesting. His kids have the name of dictators, and they do have connections to Poe. But the other ones, I don't know. I need to kind of look where Victorine comes from. That I'm not sure.
For the next episode. All right, guys, that wraps our review of the first 4 episodes of The Fall of House of Usher. It's streaming now on Shudder, so check it out. No, not on Shudder. I said Shudder earlier too, didn't I? Not Shudder. It's Netflix. Don't listen to anything I say. It's Netflix. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? All right, but check it out. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your comments down below. Christopher, Crystal, Dave, and Jeff, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, dog.
Yay.
No problemo.
Yeah, no prospero.
Oh.
Shoot me now. All right, guys.
Yeah.
It's time to get out of here before it gets worse. Let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.